demonstrate the types of considerations and tasks that correspond to each section of the exam guide. Symbol Retail's business needs also provide context for many of the diagnostic questions you encounter along the way and highlight areas that you should spend more time learning about. Why become a Google Cloud Certified Professional Data Engineer? Certification value has a career. You may be curious about what different evaluate case studies and design solutions to meet business requirements, in addition to knowing about technical requirements for customer implementation. As you explore the role of the professional data engineer at Symbol Retail in this course, you also explore different sections of the exam guide, which forms the basis for the certification exam. In the following modules, you take diagnostic questions to assess your knowledge of each section of the exam guide. The exam guide for the professional data engineer is divided into 5 sections, each containing one or more objectives. We focus on where you can find resources at the section of Data-Engineer. The certification page will always have the latest available version of the exam guide. Learn/certification/data- engineer. The certification page will always have the latest available version of the exam guide. It's important to note that there Data-Engineer. The certification page will always have the latest available version of the exam guide. It's important to note that there are separate teams developing the professional data engineer exam questions and developing the courses and exam preparation materials. The course developers and instructors don't know what questions will be on your certification exam. The goal of the course is to determine what you know and what you don't know to help you prepare a study plan and get ready for the professional data engineer job role and exam. Later, when you take the exam, you will demonstrate whether you have the skills and knowledge required to earn the certification. Let's go over the types of resources. The learning path for the certification includes online courses, online practice labs, and practice questions. The courses recommended for the professional data engineer certification can be taken on demand or as instructor-led courses. You learn more about how these courses relate to the sections of the exam guide as you complete the modules that give you practice with Google Cloud systems with your plan. You can access the professional data engineer learning path at www. The diagnostic questions in this course are designed to help you identify your 16. Sample questions are another resource that you can use to prepare. The diagnostic questions in this course are designed to help you identify your knowledge gaps. On the certification page, Google provides a set of sample questions that can help you familiarize yourself with the format of the exam questions. Once you complete the question set, you will receive feedback describing the rationale for the correct answers. The sample questions provide a good opportunity to practice taking the type of scenario-based, application-level each of the following. One of the primary goals for this course is to help you devise a study strategy that focuses on the areas you need to work on. Let's quickly explore how the course is set up. The course and your course workbook focuses on each section of the exam guide sequentially. To help you craft a study strategy, You take diagnostic questions as part of each module. Many of these questions relate to our symbol retail scenario and ask you to apply concepts you will need to be familiar with as a professional data engineer. You can take these questions using the embedded quiz in each module or using your workbook. Keep in mind that these diagnostic questions expect not be expert. As you review the questions, there are hints with bolded text about what is important in the question and how you might evaluate the responses. Try to anticipate details are omitted. Review select questions related to each section or highlight how to use the workbook. Welcome to Module 1, Designing Data Processing Systems. In this module, you'll explore considerations for designing data processing systems, which correspond to Section 1 of the Professional Data Engineer Exam Guide. Let's start by discussing how a professional data engineer performs this role at Symbol Retail. Next, you'll assess your skills in this section through 10 diagnostic questions. Then you'll review these questions, and based on the areas you need to learn more about, you'll identify resources to include in your study plan. Let's begin by exploring the role of a professional data. Data engineer in migrating Symbol Retail's data from its private data centers to Google Cloud. Let's look at the various challenges a professional data engineer will face in accomplishing this task. Symbol Retail's existing data centers are going to be decommissioned in the next 2 years. You need to help migrate existing in accomplishing this task. Symbol Retail's existing data centers are going to be decommissioned in the next 2 years. You need to help migrate existing data and data processing systems to Google Cloud. Similar migrations have to also be conducted in acquired companies with their own private data centers. As a professional data engineer, your role involves ensuring that there is a uniform approach to managing and securing the data. Controlling access at a granular level based on employee role is critical to complying with regional laws and industry regulations. You need to understand and deploy options to control the security of data via encryption. Whether during migration or in the course of regular operations, certain data has to be captured and stored, but never revealed to other parts of the organization, for example, analysts. You need to employ tools to redact information, and you need to be able to extend these tools as required to meet future requirements. You'll be required to move data reliably from external sources into Google Cloud. Sometimes the data movement might be done over many days. In other cases, data needs to be quickly moved as and when it arrives in other data sources for up-to-date analytics. As data is moved into Google Cloud, it will also need to be assessed for quality and cataloged for easy discoverability by consumers of the data. Symbol Retail's data is used simultaneously by different divisions to manage their business: finance, marketing, purchasing, sales, compliance, legal, store operations, and more. However, all of these groups do not need access to all the data. You should ensure fine-grained control on the data, which is strictly on a need-to-know basis. It's your turn to assess your experience and skills related to this section with some diagnostic questions. Remember, these questions are intended to help you understand or diagnose which areas you'll want to focus on in your study plan. So we don't expect you to know all the answers yet. Please complete the diagnostic questions that are presented next. If your learning platform does not support assessments or quizzes, kindly use your course workbook. The diagnostic questions in this course can be challenging, and some of them have several layers or decisions to make. Let's examine some approaches you can use when analyzing complicated questions through a detailed discussion of a few diagnostic questions from this first module. Let's start with question 3. First, consider the question stem. We can break the stem up into multiple parts. The first part of the stem is the scenario, which gives you the context. For the question. You are migrating on-premises data to a data warehouse on Google Cloud. This data will be made available to business analysts. Local regulations require that customer information, including credit card numbers, phone numbers, and email IDs, be captured but not used in analysis. In this scenario, you learn some key information. Your data includes personally identifiable information, PII, but it cannot be used in analysis. Next, you can identify the goal statement or what it is you need to accomplish. You need to use a reliable, recommended solution to redact the sensitive data. From this goal, you know to look for options that are reliable, accurate, and consistent in performance, and follow Google recommended practices. So, what should you do? Start by noticing patterns in the responses. Two options, A and D, have you use the Cloud Data Loss Prevention DLP API. Option B has you manually delete columns, and option C has you create a regular expression to delete information. You can eliminate option B right away. It is not reliable. Columns might contain sensitive data, even if it's not indicated by the title. For example, there could be a comments column with sensitive private information. You can also eliminate option C. Determining the regular expressions that match different data types can be more tedious and less accurate than using Cloud DLP. This leaves you with the two options using Cloud DLP, and you need to determine the correct usage. Look at the differences between them. In option A, you identify and redact data that matches certain info types. In option D, you perform date shifting of entries. You can eliminate option D because date shifting the entries does not redact the personal identifiable information PII like credit card numbers, phone numbers, and email IDs. This leaves you with option A. Cloud Data Loss Prevention helps you discover, classify, type. Scenario: your data and applications reside in multiple geographies, have multiple parts. Consider each of the requirements posed by the question. Find the similarities and differences in the responses and eliminate responses that do not meet the requirements.